So let's finish our talk of the Kybalion with principles 5, 6, and 7. So today we're going to be talking about the principles number 5, rhythm, number 6, cause and effect, and number 7, the principle of gender. So let's start with number 5, rhythm. So we're talking back and forth, high and low, ebb and flow, and waves and troughs, as Ellen Watts likes to say. Remember, you don't find Ellen Watts. Ellen Watts finds you when you're ready. By the way, check him out. Um, so, knowledge of this can help you find balance in all things and be free and a master of life's cycles, whether it be good days or bad days, the influences of planetary cycles, like stuff at work, stuff in your personal life, and whatever the experience is. I was just listing off a couple of them there. So the Kybalion mentions the mental law of neutralization, which basically means non-attachment. You got to be neutral. Remember when we were talking about polarity, right? You have good, bad, light, dark, up, down, east, west, right? But it's all a continuum. You got to find the middle way, the middle path ish, right? So this, the non-attachment, can help you with dealing with the ebb and flow and the ups and downs, where you're not pulled in one direction or another, not in one extreme or another, and you're not caught in the turmoil of things. So you're free from internal and external turmoil and influences. So when we're talking about non-attachment, a lot of people think that it just means being very, very passive, being blasé, just being kind of like, oh, whatever, man, it's fine. You know, kind of like an Enneagram 9. If you guys haven't looked into the Enneagram types, it's really, really fascinating. So there's that too. Let me know if you want me to do a video on the Enneagram types, because understanding our own personalities can really help us to kind of figure out what's going on with us and improve that to improve our magic. So in a way, working with your own Enneagram type towards the one that you should aspire to and away from the one that you can kind of fall into is kind of a sort of path working. So let me know if you guys want me to do some stuff on the Enneagram, because my lady would probably really like to do those kinds of videos. And you might see her more on this channel lately, because she's kind of prepping herself for that, because I have more of the gusto to make videos, as you've seen, but getting her into it because she has her own little spiritual viewpoints on stuff, which can probably be of use to you guys. So there's that. I'm hearing cat noise down here. Cat noise is up there. Huh. So, back to the idea of, neutral, right? We're not talking about being passive and just being like, okay, whatever happens, man. The idea is you want to find the ability to be okay and to be yourself regardless of what happens. You don't fall into anxiety. You don't fall into anger. You don't fall into depression or any of these bad states. Basically, you got to be less reactive to things. And I mean, you can respond to different things that happen in your life, but you don't want to be reactive. And reactive is more of an automatic thing, and being reactive is more of something that you would do kind of without that higher level thinking and without seeing things through and thinking things through to the end. So, you know, this too shall pass. Anybody know about the story of, like, I think I'm gonna butcher this or whatever, but a king commissioned a guy to make him a piece of jewelry that would make him sad when happy and happy when sad, right? And so the guy made him a ring that said, "This too shall pass" on it. And it's a really, really cool concept because, and I've really experienced this in my life, and I wonder if you guys have too, so drop it in the comments. But whenever there's something good, something bad tends to come along. If you're having a good day, something is going to come along and throw a wrench in it. Now, depending on your own personality and the way that you are, those good things and bad things that come along and kind of throw a wrench in things and try to change things up, you can be very reactive to them, or you can just respond to them and just understand that it's one of those things that just kind of happens. I'm an Aries Taurus cusp. So I'm more of a go with the flow guy when it comes to my Taurus side, but my Aries side knows when to get crap done when crap needs to get done, provided I've had enough sleep. So the idea of rhythm is that nothing is permanent. Nothing is stagnant and everything changes, and there are things that will come and go. And that's why a lot of, like, I've gotten into debates with some people, and I might generate some here, but a lot of not a lot of spell work creates permanent change. And I say that because you can do a spell to change something, and then it can change. But I would like to argue that when you step out of that ritual chamber, that temple, that the ritual space, you have to do the mundane action to keep the result of that spell working. You might even have to do other spell works. It's like charging a battery. So there are things that will always try to change the things that you like and the things that you hate. When it comes to the things that you hate, you got to look for those things, look for the silver linings in things. And when things are going good for you, you got to maintain that good. So, yeah, that would be number 5, rhythm. So, number 6, cause and effect. Nothing just happens to you. Nothing just happens out there. Nothing just happens in here, right? Everything happens for a reason. I like to argue that all the time. It usually is that either you caused it to happen or your lack of effort let it happen, right? We are masters of our own worlds. I live my life, and anything that has happened in my life has been because I've either done something or haven't done something in response to something else. So, like, going back to number 5, you get the rhythm of the ups and downs, and you have, with those ups and downs, the up and down, the up or down could be the cause, and the effect could be what you do in response to it. So, let's see. You can acknowledge this and accept that the things in your life happen because of your input or lack of input, and put your effort into everything that you do. A lot of times, if we go on autopilot, which psychologically speaking, we do go on autopilot quite often because we operate mostly on our subconscious due to our past experiences. Thank you, psych degree. Where was I? So you got to put your effort into everything you do, therefore causing the outcomes rather than letting the outcomes happen to you. So everything that happens in your life, good or bad, I want you to think about what you did to contribute to that or what you didn't do that allowed that to happen. And we can kind of put a stopgap in this or change the route of things by doing spell work. There was a time, I want to say 2013, 2014, when I did a working with one of the 50 names of Marduk, at least one, every single night, right? And that's how, when I was really diving into the book and digesting everything, it was and it still is, my bread and butter, and that's the way that I always work my magic first, is going with the Simon Necronomicon. But my point is that I was doing things every single night to change aspects of my life in the way that I wanted to, because I know that there's a cause and effect to things, and I wanted to be that cause rather than just dealing with the effect. Did I have any more notes on that, or nope? All right. So now we're going to go on to number 7, the principle of gender. Now, this, when it was written, we're going to get a lot of context of just when it was written, because it's a lot different with a lot of viewpoints on gender today, but I'm just going off of what the book talked about. I don't really want to get into any debates on this kind of thing. So everything has a gender. I can already feel the hate here, possibly. But you have the will to create and the material to create it, and the will and the material to destroy. You have the creator, the creating force, which is described as being feminine, and then you have the the idea of creating stuff, which is described as feminine, that force to create, and then the will to do something that is described as male. So you have creation, which is female, and then will or action, which is male. It's similar to the law of polarity, and the principle of gender asserts that opposites come together to create, like positive and negative, lock and key, dark and light, hot and cold, things like that. Everything has a complement and a counterpart to it. Now, you can relate this back to the principle of polarity, where everything exists on a spectrum, just like how a lot of people like to think that gender does nowadays. But there are still things that can be described as masculine and feminine, and it really kind of helps to put things on in not boxes, but this spectrum of creation and action, and describing one as feminine and one as masculine, because in a biological sense, you have the feminine, which creates life, and then the masculine, which is the action that breeds into that to create something out of it, to make something out of it. So you have creation and make. And this is why in a lot of spiritual circles and paths you can find the opposites of gods and goddesses. You have Enlil and Ninlil, you have Enki and Ninki, you have Yahweh and his consort. I can't remember her name, but whenever there was a male force, there is a female force, and in the even in science, you have positive and negative particles, and everything kind of has a counterpart that complements it. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to get to. So when you're working your rituals, you want to make sure that you have the projective and receptive forces. So when you're working with energy, you have to have a way of building up energy, and then a means of projecting that energy. So even in my book, Magical Theater, right, I talk about ways of building energy, and then in spell work, what to do with that energy. So building the energy is kind of the feminine force, and then projecting that energy and the actual spell work is more of the masculine force. So you got to have both of those aspects in your rituals to make them powerful, to create something out of them, because it takes both of those aspects to create something new. There we go. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about the principles 5, 6, and 7 down in the comments, and you can always shoot me an email and stuff. All of my info for my books and my social media and stuff you can find at the end of this video. So, we got through the Kybalion. Good for us, and good hunting. Thanks for watching my video. So if you want to check out my playlists, I have, among others, the Simon Necronomicon, the Tree of Life, General Magic, Tulpamancy, a playlist on my books, the elements, stones, the theories that govern magic, and the gods and goddesses of Mesopotamia. If you want to check out my books on Amazon, I have Creating Consciousness, Magical Mechanics, Magical Theater, Handy Sigil Magic, Magical Movement, which is an update and expansion upon Handy Sigil Magic, Magical Mastery, which is a combination masterwork of Magical Theater and Magical Mechanics, and The Guide to the Spheres and Beyond. You can also find me on Facebook at Magickology YT. You can email me at priestofthenecro@gmail.com, and you can even check out my Instagram, which is Magickology. And good hunting.